Today on Region Spotlight, we're going to be talking about Douro Valley wines from Douro, Portugal. The Douro Valley in Portugal is located in northern Portugal, just upriver from the town of Oporto, which lends its name to its most famous wines. And it's on the same river that you find in Spain, known as the Douro River. So this is the same river that's running through Ribera del Duero, and you'll see some similarities when I talk about the structures of the wine. Here we have a map of the Douro Valley split into the three regions: the Baixo Corgo, the Cima Corgo, and the Douro Superior. The Baixo Corgo is the lower area of the river, which produces generally the lightest, coolest, most acid-driven wines. The Cima Corgo, which is the center and heart of port production in the Douro Valley for many centuries. And then Douro Superior, which is the hottest region, which produces the wines of the most intensity. So what are the Douro must-knows? Well, if you're visiting Portugal, this is a must-visit spot. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. These old terrace vineyards are located on the hillsides, built into and dug out of the hillsides over many centuries. It's absolutely gorgeous. Definitely something that you need to check out. And of course, you have to talk about the fortified wines, the ports from the Douro Valley whenever you talk about the region. This is what helped put them on the map, and this is what made the Douro Valley one of the first demarcated regions hundreds of years ago, well before the demarcation zones were created in Germany, in Italy, in Spain. So the region of port and the Douro wines are incredibly historic. And then you need to know a little bit about the soils. So here you have a lot of schist, which is a very hard stone. And the reason why they created terraced vineyards is because it is very difficult to plant in schist. So they would dig out these different terraces to allow you to actually have some vines in those terraces actually survive and be able to irrigate them and work them without having these really high slopes as well. And then the climate here is generally very hot during the day, but that cooling influence coming up from the river would help cool down the vines at night, which allows you to have these wines with very incredible inkiness and intensity, but also retaining very good acidity. Now, we talked about the fortified wines and the historic properties of these wines that have been around for hundreds of years, but now they are getting very famous for their dry wines, particularly their dry reds. And when we talk about the dry reds, we're talking mostly about blends. So what you really want to know and what you really want to look out for when you're getting these incredible wines from Portugal is you're going to want to get the fortified wines from port. You're going to want to find the indigenous varieties, the wines made with primarily their three most important um, varieties, which is Touriga Nacional, Touriga Franca, and what is essentially Tempranillo, which is Tinto Roriz in that region. But there's some other great varietals like Tinto Cao and Barroca, which exist in that area that are incredible. As I mentioned before, red blends, these varieties are not only producing fantastic wines here, but a few of these varieties are being explored and planted in other regions, including Bordeaux, because of their capacity to deal with heat and still produce wines with very good acidity, very good structures and layer. So you're seeing these varietals that are indigenous to the Douro Valley being taken to more famous regions. Now, this leads me to the tremendous value of these wines. So you're able to get wines that are competing in quality with wines from Napa, wines from Ribera del Duero, wines from Tuscany and Bordeaux in quality, and often at a much more approachable price point. The entry tier wines from this region can be as inexpensive as $12, going all the way up to some of the wines made by the single quintas, which are amongst the best in the world, which are in the collectible price point of a few $100s. And when we talk about wines from the Douro, I've mentioned they're big, they're rich, they're intense with great acidity. That means these are actually incredible cellar-worthy wines. So when you find a really good quality producer like Cresselia or some of the dry wines from Noval, you'll be able to store these wines and enjoy them for many years to come, and they evolve beautifully. Now, why would you ever want to skip Douro? Well, if you're looking for a light, easy drinking table red that's not going to have a lot of tannin, that's not going to be very intense, this is definitely a region that you're going to want to skip out on. The wines of Douro, as I mentioned already a few times, are very big, they're inky, they're intense, they are very high quality, but they are bold. They are looking for heavy meats, they are looking for that kind of food to go along with them. And as such, they're also not very well known for their white wines. While they do have some very complex and fun and interesting and even high quality white wines, the majority of the production there and the focus on the quality wines tends to be on the reds. So you won't find very many white wines. And as I mentioned with the complexity, if you're looking for a very simple, straightforward wine, you're going to want to go for a region that tends to do a little bit more single varietal rather than the wines of the Douro Valley, which tend to be more bold, more intense, and will have multiple varietals leading to a lot of complexity and limited selection. Not that they don't make a lot of wines, it's that not a lot of them are being imported into the US. So you're not going to find as deep a selection of available wines from the Douro Valley, especially the dry reds, as you would find wines from Rioja, Ribera del Duero, Bordeaux, Napa, Sonoma. Those are wines that you can find just about everywhere, whereas Douro Valley, you have to find a shop that has gone out of their way to find some of these incredible values. So check out what we have from the Douro Valley and let us know what you think about the wines of Douro.